Hello. Let's lay down on our mats. This will be a shorter practice. So what we'll do is just lay down and find a comfortable position. You can stretch your legs out long if that feels good, or have your knees bent if that feels better on your low back. Place our hands on our pelvis, close our eyes, and just start to take a few deep breaths, noticing that upward and expansive quality that the inhale provides, and that gentle release and letting go that the exhale provides. So as you slow down your breath and become curious about where it moves in the body, allow that to bring your attention inward into your body, into this moment, and notice how your weight of the skull rests on the mat. Notice the shoulders, noticing how the pelvis relates to the earth beneath you, the legs and the toes. And just taking this moment to accept everything as it is right now without any need to change it, knowing that everything is always flowing and changing. And with your following inhale, we'll just start to bend the knees into your chest one at a time, giving them a nice squeeze. Notice how that feels with your low back and pelvis against the mat. And just kind of notice how one knee pulls in towards your chest compared to the other, noticing how the hip sockets feel. And then we'll start to keep one hand on each kneecap, draw the knees in towards each other, circle the knees away, and circle them out to the sides and again in towards your chest. So just drawing circles with one hand on one knee, each knee, away from each other. And really allowing the legs to be floppy, the feet to be floppy, letting your legs know that your arms are there to support the movement, almost as if you were driving the movement with the arms. And seeing if that allows any kind of tension or rigidity to release at the hip crease. Noticing where you're inhaling and on what phase of the circle you're exhaling. And as you feel ready and it feels natural, we'll go ahead and just change the direction of your circles. Again, notice how the breath synchronizes with your circles. Allowing your eyes to stay closed so you can keep your attention inward. And just reminding yourself that you're lying on the floor. You can release your back body down into the mat, and again, let the legs work with the least amount of effort. Relaxing the jaw, the chest, and the face. Noticing the texture of the movement at the hips. And then the next time the knees are in towards each other, you'll keep the knees together. And we'll start to draw circles with the knees to one side. You can go back in towards the center, towards your chest, around to the other side and away from you. You can make this movement as small as you like, appreciating the massage of that orbit, that circular orbit around the bottom of the sacrum, feeling that release of the tissues there. And if there's any spot that feels extra, like it needs extra attention or care, you can use this circular motion, your breath, and the floor to massage that area out a little bit more, changing the direction of the circles as you're ready, and really just making this your own, this practice, getting what you need out of it, and having the priority be to feeling what it is that you're doing and letting your sensations guide you. There's really getting out of that right or wrong thinking. Um, because how your body is will always be changing. So just taking this moment to prioritize taking care of yourself and what you need in the moment. And then as you're ready, you can bring your circle to a stop and you'll bring your feet one at a time down onto the mat and maybe walk the feet about as wide as the mat, toes turned out, as long, as wide as it feels okay on your hip sockets, but just notice that your feet are an even distance away from your pubic bone at your center. We'll reach our arms back behind our head, interlacing the fingers to make a comfortable pillow for the back of the head. And if that doesn't feel good on your shoulders, you could always keep your hands on your rib cage or on your pelvis if that feels okay. We're going to let our legs fall over towards the right. And as we let the legs fall over towards the right, gently press the inner edge of your left foot down into the mat so you can slide that knee, that left knee, away from your left shoulder. Take a moment to breathe in this shape and allow your energy to relax back into the mat. What can you release? The head, the shoulders, just having the effort be that gentle press of the left inner edge of the foot into the mat. And then we'll just gently start to push the right foot into the mat, and that's going to guide the knee up. Keep everything else really quiet in the body. As the knee comes up towards the ceiling, it's going to guide your pelvis. It's going to move, kind of roll through the bones of the pelvis to bring yourself back to center. Take a pause there and notice how you're standing on your 2 feet, and then breathe as you bring your legs, your knees over towards the left side. As the knees fall over towards the left, gently press the inner edge of the right foot down into the mat, lengthening that knee away from the opposite shoulder. And even let your left leg, the outer leg, get heavy here, and see what you can release, although you're staying in this shape. And then you'll gently start to press the left foot into the mat. That's going to guide the knee up. That's that outside leg. We wait for that moment, appreciating the massage at the back of the pelvis as we roll back to center. So we're just going to keep exploring this movement, going from side, breathing there, seeing what we can release, pressing the inner edge of the foot into the mat, and then reaching the outside knee up towards the ceiling, and allow that to roll you through your bones. Going to the other side, and again, taking a pace that feels good for you. You might want to have a little bit more of a rhythmic movement pace. You might want to pause and breathe into shape. Just keep reminding yourself that you're here on the floor, you're safe, and you can let go. And really allowing each exhale to be an opportunity to let go. We'll just move with this motion. A few more repetitions. Notice at what phase of the movement are you inhaling? At what phase of the movement are you exhaling? And always keeping the movement within your comfort zone. Never moving into anything, any sensation that feels sharp or electric. Keeping the volume down nice and low in the body to let the nervous system reset. We'll just go one more side here. And then as you come back to the center, We'll just pause there, and then we'll roll over onto one side, whatever side, your favorite side. I'm going to be rolling onto my right side, and just bring one arm underneath you so that you can keep it under you for a pillow, or get a pillow. We'll stack the knees here. Just find a moment to be laying comfy cozy on your side and cradling yourself here. And then you'll bring your top arm behind your head. As you bring your hand behind your head, open your chest so that you can look up towards the ceiling and let your elbow reach out towards the floor behind you. Take a nice breath here and allow your energy to melt back into the mat. And then we'll exhale and we'll roll forward. As you roll the elbow forward, you can maybe even massage your forehead a little bit on the mat as you stretch your forehead down to the floor. So we're going to open the chest up towards the ceiling. And then as you're ready, you can roll yourself forward, maybe even rolling onto your forehead as you bring the elbow towards the floor in front of you. The next time that your chest is open and the arm is reaching, or your elbow is reaching back behind you in space, you're going to take your top knee and draw it in towards your chest a little bit more. Then you're going to straighten that leg out. You're going to reach the straight leg back behind you as you turn your chest towards the floor, chest and elbow towards the floor. Bring the straight leg forward as you open the chest and elbow towards the ceiling. Allow your head to relax heavy into the hand. And then we'll reach the heel long away, reaching your thigh back into the space behind you as you roll your elbow forward. So just exploring this shape, this movement, and how it feels to breathe here, and pausing in any place if it feels extra good to send more breath, more light, more nutrients into that angle. And just play around with it and make it your own. What happens when you flex the foot? What happens when you point the toe? What happens when you really let go of the head and the face? And then the next time that that leg is reaching back into the space behind you, maybe you're going to let the leg come down onto the ground, or maybe you can keep it straight, however it feels best for you. And you're going to reach that hand that's behind your head forward. So you're reaching your leg, your back leg into the space, your top leg into the space behind you, and your top arm into the space in front of you. Taking a moment to breathe here in this diagonal, noticing how you are lengthening as you're twisting through the spine, hydrating, nourishing your tissues and your spine. And then just go ahead and bring your knees back together and bring your hand onto your arm onto your hip. From here, we're just going to lift the top foot up. And as you lift the top foot, your knees stay together. And then we'll slowly let it release and let there be a moment of non-doing, of complete release. You can also, I'm going to change the position of my hand to be in front of me now. It feels a little more comfortable on my neck and shoulders. So we're going to lift the leg and then slowly let it release to a point where there's no effort. Breathe to lift. Notice how you're internally rotating at that hip and thigh. And then breathe to release, and take a moment for a complete moment of just blah. Do two more like this. Breathe to lift. And slowly release, just like a dimmer switch. Trying to take anything jerky out of the movement, but making it nice and smooth. Slowly turning the light on and slowly turning the light off. Take your top arm now and reach it over your head. As you reach it over your head, notice how you can lengthen through your side waist and maybe even lift the bottom of your side waist up off the mat a little bit. And then we'll bring the hand underneath the ear. And bring it anywhere it just feels comfortable on your shoulder. We'll inhale to lift the head, and notice how we're cinching through the side waist. The bottom side waist presses down into the mat as the top side waist gets shorter. And then we slowly again release, just like that dimmer switch. So we'll breathe to lift, lengthening the bottom side waist as we squeeze the top side waist. And then we'll breathe to release. Let's do a couple more of these. Allow your shoulder to relax. And then we'll combine the movements. We'll lift the top foot as we curl up. Let the head relax into your hand. And then slowly lower, and notice how you're lengthening through your side waist. As you lift, notice how the top side of your neck is getting shorter while the bottom side of your neck is getting longer, just like your waist on the bottom there. Releasing any layers of tension or effort that we don't need. This will be the last one. And then gently release. You're just going to roll onto your belly here. Any way that you can. Bring your hands underneath your forehead and let your legs lengthen out. You're just going to gently roll your head from side to side. It's perfectly normal and common for the neck or shoulders to feel a little bit achy after that sequence. Don't worry, we will smooth it out. Massaging through the forehead, moving slowly, letting the chest release down to the mat, letting the legs get floppy. And then once you come back to the center, just notice the difference in the two sides of the body. Does one side feel longer than the other? Does one side feel heavier? Just noticing what you perceive. And then you can gently just roll over onto your other side. I'll turn to face you, but you can just roll over onto your other side. I'm just laying on my left side now. And we'll start with our book opening. So the knees bend. You have your bottom arm underneath you as a nice little pillow, bringing your hand behind your head. Open your chest up towards the sky. And just breathing here for a moment and letting your head get really heavy into your hands. And then you'll roll yourself forward, lift that elbow up and forward towards the mat in front of you, and perhaps you'll get your head onto the mat. And then we'll inhale to open our chest up towards the sky. Let your head get heavy, relax back into the mat. And again, just making these book openings. That's what this movement is called. One of my favorite movements in the world. Maybe yours too. Just make it your own. Move at your own pace. Pausing to breathe and stretch in anywhere that feels particularly good or interesting. And just keeping that sense of being heavy, allowing gravity to help you release down. Trying to use the least amount of effort, but the most amount of awareness, of tuning in, of sensing. And if anything does start to feel sharp, or you feel like you're going somewhere and you kind of get stuck there, don't move into that. Make your range of motion a little smaller or make it a little slower so that the mind has the ability to observe and sense any discomfort before it actually arises. Next time your chest is open towards the ceiling, bend your top knee in towards you, straighten the leg out, and turn your chest and elbow towards the floor as you reach that leg into the space behind you. Start to reach the leg forward and then open the chest up towards the ceiling. Start to this twisting motion that really wrings the spine out. The top leg reaches back behind you as the chest twists towards the floor. And again, we'll just keep exploring this motion. Where's the inhale? At what point does it feel natural to exhale? We'll just do this for a few more moments. Again, making it yours, authentic. Making this movement truly yours and letting it serve whatever it is that your body is needing. Maybe noticing any layers of tension that you can let go of in the face, the hands, the shoulders, the side body that rests against the mat. And then the next time that leg is reaching into the space behind you, reach your top arm forward on the diagonal, finding that twist and letting the side body get really heavy into the mat. And then releasing that and just stacking the knees on top of each other. You bring your front hand in front of you here. That's my alarm. Time to pick up my kids. We can finish this though. So here, our hand comes right in front of our chest. And we just start to gently lift the top foot, the knees stay together, internally rotating at the hip. Notice how that sends your bottom sideways into the mat, and then slowly releasing and bringing the feet back together. We'll inhale to lift the foot, internally rotating the pelvis, and then slowly releasing and taking a moment to pause. That's part of the movement. So we want to make sure that we completely let go between each repetition so that we keep that level of relaxation, of release, of non-tension in with us when we start the new repetition. So we're not carrying any lingering tension because we didn't release. So that moment in between, that pause of feeling the body just go blah and have zero effort is actually part of the movement. And now we'll reach our arm up and over our head. Just find an angle where it feels okay on your shoulder and stretch that arm so much that you lengthen through the side waist and maybe lift your bottom side waist up away from the mat. And then we'll bring the hand underneath the ear. And we inhale to lift the head, squeezing through the top side waist and pressing the bottom side waist down. And then we slowly release. We'll inhale to lift, keeping the legs really quiet and released. And exhale to take that moment where the whole side waist lengthens and you release. When you lower, allow the body to get floppy and heavy and melt into the mat. Now we're going to combine the movements. We lift the foot as we lift the head, squeezing into the side body, and then gently lower and lengthen the muscles out. So moving slow enough, again, for the brain to understand what is a contraction, what is a muscle that's shortened and tight, and what does a muscle feel like when it's lengthened and released. We need both. But this is the way, it's called pandiculation. This is the way that we retrain our neuromuscular system, going slow, sensing what we're feeling. A lot of times when we have tension or pain, it's because our muscles don't know how to release. So this is what we're teaching. We're teaching our body, and our body's teaching us right now. Last one. And then finding that complete release and finding your own unique way to lay down onto your belly. And here again, just take a moment to let the forehead rest on the hands. Let the chest melt down through the arms towards the floor. Allow the armpits to release the mat into the mat. Allow the jaw, pelvis, and legs get floppy. And again, noticing any difference between the two sides of the body, just tuning into what you perceive. Again, there's no right or wrong. And then gently again, smoothing out the forehead by moving the head to side to side, nice and slow. Perhaps noticing as you turn your head to the left, looking at the left elbow, that left leg gets a little bit longer. And as you turn your head to the right, that leg, that right side gets a little bit longer. It's super subtle. Maybe you don't perceive it at all, and that's okay. Paying deep attention inward to what we feel. And once you come back to center, we'll just let the chest stay heavy on the mat as we inhale and lift the head, open the eyes, take a gentle squeeze to the back of the neck, and then slowly release. And again, have that moment of complete letting go. We'll inhale, making sure that the shoulders are down away from the ears. Lift the head, look up, open the eyes, maybe even open your jaw, and then slowly release back down. Inhale, lift the head, gently squeeze the back of the neck, open the eyes, maybe the jaw, and gently release. Now we're going to combine the movement with the legs. So as you lift the head, keeping your chest heavy on the mat, just bend your knees like you're squeezing your back a little bit gently with care and love. And then let everything release and flop down to the mat. Inhale, bending the knees, lifting the head, open the eyes, chest stays heavy on the mat. And release. Last one. Bending the knees. Open the jaw, open the mouth, maybe even make a ah sound, maybe stick out your tongue, really wake up the face, and then gently release. Really find that moment that you can melt down. The chest is heavy, head is heavy, shoulders, pelvis, legs, and feet. You can bend your knees and let your feet move side to side as far as feels comfortable, letting the pelvis rock a little bit. And then straightening out the legs, bring your hands under your chest to press yourself up, taking a child's pose, bending your knees, maybe a little bit wider, getting your pelvis back over your hips first, and then either stacking your hands to let your head feel supported, or if your forehead comes all the way down to the mat, you can do that. It's really important to let our head be supported here though. So just find that comfortable position. Breathing here, sending the breath into the low back. Full deep breaths, shoulders release, jaw releases. And then gently making your way back up all the way. Taking a nice seat. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you feel good. Bye.